Hi, my name is Taylor Quigley, and this is my poster of my personal learning reflections. Throughout my teaching practice this year at my placement school, I have had the opportunity to increase my professional knowledge and practice in a range of areas through different experiences and professional development courses. You can see here in the first box that my first professional development course was delivered by the ACT group, which is the Australian Childhood Trauma Group. This was delivered to all teaching staff. We learned about how students who have had experience with trauma, such as living in refugee camps or physical abuse from their parents, how this can have a major impact on the brain and how it functions, as well as the student's capacity to learn. So the sessions provided me with knowledge and strategies that I could incorporate into my future teaching practice to assist students in literacy, particularly in reading. So this is when they are struggling to comprehend or infer what has happened. So strategies that I could include are extensive language experiences, give them simplified explanations, give the students extra time to read and to take information in, give them ample opportunities to read and be read to, so modelling how to read a book, and provide them with a safe environment so they feel comfortable to have a go and talk about what they have read. Some policies that I may have to adhere to include a mandatory reporting. So this is a duty of care. So students who you believe are unsafe in their home environment, you must report this to DHS as well as your school principal. Another experience that I had throughout my teaching placement this year was a walk to school day, which you can see here down in this box. This day involved the majority of the school meeting at the nearby park, getting their names ticked off and walking to school as a whole school, along with parents, teachers and other staff. This experience for myself was one where I was able to gain understanding of how an excursion works. We had to guide students to school and assist them in walking across the road safely. This experience for students was something that some of them don't have the opportunity to do outside of school, for reasons such as safety. This experience provided a partnership between the home, school and the community. Students were able to grow their vocabulary, so words such as road, park, footpath, bicycle, lake, sky, street signs. These were new words that students would be able to add to their vocabulary. I believe that as a teacher you should use your students' funds of knowledge, personal experiences and their culture, as well as their prior knowledge in literacy pedagogy, as this creates meaning for them. Many students don't have the opportunity to experience a range of things, so to integrate this into their literacy learning is very engaging. Experience such as this could be kept in their virtual school bag. The language experience approach is one that I would definitely use in my practice, as it increases engagement, promotes growth in vocabulary and oral language skills. It also allows for differentiation and support less able literacy learners and allows students to write about a realistic experience. After this experience of walking to school, students could then write a recount about it using their own experience and learn the structure of how a recount is written. For example, who was there, what happened, when was it, why did it happen, and how did it happen, using words such as first, next, then, and how did you feel. Students also had the opportunity to read new words, for example street signs along the way such as stop and this way. Teachers should consider connecting what happens inside the classroom to what happens outside the classroom, so that literacy can be a meaningful tool for addressing issues in students' lives. The language experience approach by Lorraine Wilson is for developing children's language and therefore listening, speaking, reading and writing. Language experience shows a relationship between speaking, listening, writing and reading. It develops both language and literacy skills in English. It supports the teaching of concepts about print, increases vocabulary and involves the students in creating extended oral and written text with teacher support. Another experience while I had on placement was a year levels 3 to 4 camp at Anglesey. Many of the students had never been on a holiday before, and many had never been to the beach, so this camp was a very rich experience for them. This experience allowed students to widen their personal experiences beyond their immediate community and learn about water safety and beach activities. They could then use this experience and knowledge in their future reading and writing tasks. It also allowed the EEL students to improve their language skills, and a recount on this event would allow the students to improve their literacy skills in writing and provide a realistic experience to write about. You can see here in the Victorian curriculum that it connects to the 3-4 camp. So for example, language for interaction, understanding that social interactions influence the way people engage with ideas and respond to others. During the camp, the students were allowed to engage in new conversations with others, and this promotes new oral language skills. It also connects to literacy, so such as responding to text drawn from a range of cultures and experiences. They can use this experience in their writing tasks to draw upon and write about. It also connects to literature, so creating literary texts, so creating literary texts that explore students' own experiences and imagining. You can see here that these are some related policies that I had to adhere to while on and before the 3-4 camp, so such as safety, emergency and risk management, the venue selection, and any medical information. So as you can see in this box, this is a particular case that happened while I was on placement. During one of my literacy lessons, students were taken out to do testing, and the groups became mixed around. Therefore, I had students in my group who were on various levels. It became really hard to manage when some of the students couldn't identify letters, and some of them could write the first 25 Oxford words. These particular literacy groups were pre-arranged for reading levels. However, students may be at different levels depending on what area of literacy is being covered. So for example, writing, a student might be at a different level for this. Literacy grouping is designed to be flexible and responsive. And you can see here, up here, the connection to the AITSL standards. So differentiate teaching to meet the specific learning needs of students across the full range of abilities. So at a graduate level, you should be demonstrating knowledge and understanding of strategies for differentiating teaching to meet the specific learning needs of students across the full range of abilities. So this is what I was practicing in these literacy ability groups. For this lesson, I was adhering to the school's focus, as their focus in literacy is ability reading groups. The role of the parents in this lesson at my placement school was to assist with these groups. So every morning we would have a parent helper to assist with these activities. The role of the students in this lesson was to participate and engage themselves in deep collaborative learning. So in this particular lesson, students were involved in learning of language, so they were collaborating, communicating, working together and discussing strategies. The literacy component involved reading, writing and spelling activities, so these were purposeful reading activities. And prior to the reading groups, literature was involved, as I read a book to them at the beginning of this lesson. So a possible solution to this lesson would be to realign the groups to suit the activity based on the students' ability levels, or pre-plan for differentiation to cater for the varying ability levels. The key for differentiating literacy lessons is to ensure that activity or task is relevant to the learning goals. However, how do you suggest that you should group students of mixed abilities to allow them to move forward in their learning, and then in that way they can work with other students with a variety of skills. Some theories that I wish to incorporate into my future teaching of literacy include the inquiry model, ideological model, and the autonomous model. Other strategies I would also include are the multimodal literacies, collaboration and modelling. I will also ensure that my teaching creates meaning for all students and allows for a variety of groupings, including both ability and mixed abilities, to foster activity, literacy, learning and engagement. So John Hattie said, the mistake is to assume that just because students sit in groups, there is learning in groups. So after doing some extensive research, I found that differentiating is an extremely important aspect of the classroom and students' learning outcomes. So as a teacher of literacy, after learning from all these experiences and cases, I will offer each student a positive, secure, challenging, and supportive learning environment. I'll also provide them a meaningful, rich curriculum that is designed to engage learners. I'll use persistent formative assessment to ensure that myself and the students are aware of the student status relative to the specific learning goals. And I'll also plan instruction based on formative assessment. One of the most effective methods to use when teaching young children is to begin with what children know, so these real experiences. This important idea is based on what we know about how children learn. As a teacher, we must continue to provide these experiences to our students, such as excursions to farms, factories, and museums. The purpose of excursions is to expose children to diverse, real, and new experiences. For example, if you were going on an excursion to a farm, you may help a child list the names of children going on that excursion. There are thousands of opportunities on a daily basis to use reading, writing, listening, and language in your teaching. Becoming literate is a process that begins at birth and continues throughout a student's lifetime. Although students differ in their rates of literacy acquisition, there are several stages through which most children progress. Language learning that is functional and related to real-life experiences is the most important part of learning to read and write. In conclusion, the professional development and placement opportunities I was involved in have allowed me to gain knowledge, skills, strategies, and resources to become a more effective teacher of literacy. Thank you for listening.